dry conversation when I'm speaking, she moist, man. Every day we trying to strive. This for my niggas and my queens working a 9 to 5. Man, I'm the type of lock in for 10 days, then proceed to kick my shit like senseis.
What's going on, everybody? This is Corbin, the Serpentine Skipwith, and I'm here with very special guest, Jéan P, the MC. How are you going?
What's up, man? How you doing? How you going?
Yeah, not bad. We're finally connecting.
Yeah, finally. This is crazy. Like I said, Australia, I had to set up Zoom and do all that stuff, but we good now. So
Nah, I'm very hyped. So for all the viewers who are going to be watching this, I wanted to do a dissection video, a in-depth video on your new album, which was amazing. We'll get into that later. The way I see it. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. And you know, who better to talk about it with than the man who created the album. So
right.
Yeah. All right. So the first thing, so your last album, Say What You Mean, came out in 2020, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So this one came out in 2022. So you've had 2 to 3 years since 2 to 3 years to work on this album. Tell me, what was with this new album, what was your mindset going in compared to the last one? What was different? What did you want to change or keep the same?
My mindset, can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay. My mindset going into the way I see it was growth and maturity and showing people that, you know, I'm 32 years old. This is where my life is at, you know, so it was necessary for me to make a body of music that could be relatable, but that people could feel and understand, you know, because you being a fan of hip hop as well, you kind of see hip hop, like the culture's still there, but you see the culture going in like this one direction of everybody doing the same thing. So I wanted to make a body of music that was reflective of the hip hop that I love, but modern, you know what I'm saying? So people could put me in that box of being an MC, but they could play this album, whether you're an old fan of hip hop, a newer fan. I wanted to make it as universal as possible, but giving a message on like perspective. So it was about my perspective from being a 32-year-old Black man with the highs and lows of life. And, you know, being an artist, being a man. So it was a lot of different layers to the album for real. So,
yeah. So one thing I want to talk about is the skits on this album. So,
yeah.
Okay. The reason I bring it up is because I feel like in the hip hop culture, it's kind of in the middle divided between people who don't understand why skits are in albums, can't stand them, and people who find them funny, quirky, creative. And obviously with you, you're on the other end, quirky, creative, and funny. I personally, I'm not really a big fan of skits normally. It's like, to me, it's like, just get on with the album. Like,
right.
the song's going. So was there any specific artist that inspired you for the skits? Like, because, you know, you got Redman, you got people like, you know, Outkast who did skits. Like, what was your inspiration to add skits to the album?
Man, just the culture, all those artists you mentioned, you know what I'm saying? Like when you listen to your favorite classic hip hop albums, they have skits. And that's what's wrong with music, man. It's like you give somebody a body of music, but now it's kind of like, okay, take what you want and give it your own meaning. Me personally, I think that's lazy. Like you want people to be their own listener with an album, but you also want to kind of give them like a direction. And a point, you know what I'm saying? Like the skits kind of give a direction of, okay, this is where the album is going, because it's cool to determine it through songs, but sometimes skits kind of help you understand the body of work, in my opinion. All my favorite albums have skits. A lot of people joke and say skits is the 90s. They don't do skits no more. But one thing that people who listen to Jéan P, they say about other than my music is that I have a lot of dope skits on my albums. So I think it kind of gives the album a cinematic feel as well.
Yeah. So maybe, you know, going a little bit more in depth in that, like, how do you record the skits? Are there actual people around you talking? Did you make that up? Did you edit that?
On my phone, man. I do a lot of things on my phone. So like sometimes when I'm around people and I feel we're going to have a good conversation, I'll pull my recorder out. Not on like creepy type shit, but like I'll get inspired. Like sometimes I chill with my grandma Nada. My grandma Nada, like when she talks, she always drops a lot of quotes. So like I always pull the recorder out and I'll be like, yeah, you know, this is good for an album, but also it's good to listen to when I'm having like a day where I need to hear some words. So even on my album, The Way I See It, like with Krishan White, my best friend, he's just a funny dude. Like we'll be somewhere, we'll be with some girls and we'll be with some friends and he'll tell a story to where people who don't even know him, they'll be like, yo, that story was hilarious. So I had a chance to record him telling a story about his friend buying some bad weed and him just giving his response. And you can hear me giggling in the background. You know what I'm saying? It was just funny like that. So I like to kind of give a personality to where somebody from Australia could feel like they were with me. Like, oh, I feel like I'm smoking with him and Krishan, you know, just chilling out. So I like to kind of give those skits to have the listener feel like they're with me in the album. So
Yeah, no, it felt very personal, and that's why I've always been curious, like how people record skits. It's like, are they really there? Did they find voices and add it in? Like, I've always been curious. So
sometimes you do. Sometimes you'll call and be like, yo, man, can you leave a voicemail? And they'll do it. But sometimes I like to have natural skits. So there are times on the mail route. I have so many voice recordings on my album that on my phone that I can use for a future project to kind of help paint a picture of my story, because the voice skits represent me and my life. They represent I'm an everyday person. You know, sometimes I'll do voice skits of people on my mail route when they talk to me. You know, I'm a mailman. So sometimes I'll catch a moment where a customer will be telling me some knowledge and I'm like, I should probably put my phone down and record that. Like even on my album, there's a story about a man who I deliver mail to. He told a story about my dad having the ability to jump so high at the end of Cliff Notes. That was a mailman. That was a customer on my route. And he was like, yo, man, I know your dad. He used to jump so high, you know, and it was like an urban legend about him. Like if you know John Johnson in Canton before he passed, you know, he could jump out the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So that was his gift. And the fact that I had that on the album too, it gives a story like people feel like they know my father. You know what I mean? So that's why I like to do those type of things.
nice, fair enough. You know, just to quickly just for a split second detour a bit, I did an interview with Mr. Motherfucking Esquire. And
oh yeah, he's dope.
Yeah, and he told me that for one of his albums, I forgot which one, but one of his albums, he actually he pulled out his recorder for his wife's pregnancy, giving birth.
Yeah.
And he used that at the end of the album. And I was like, is that real? And he's like, yeah, I recorded that. I was like,
man, Huzzah is like one of my favorite songs from him. He's a dope MC too.
Yeah.
What's crazy is I was listening to him back when he was on Tumblr. And I remember he posted his phone number on Tumblr and I called him and we were just talking on the phone. We was like, yo, is this really Mr. Motherfucking Esquire? And he was like, you know, he was on the blogs at the time and he was doing this thing. And like he got this song I like called Chicken Spot Rock. It's one of my favorite Mr. Esquire songs. It's one of his old mixtapes hosted by Mishka. Like I'm a real big hip hop head, you know what I'm saying? So I like to talk. When you say certain names, I'm like, oh, I know who that is. I could definitely tell you about them. So shout out to Mr. Esquire, Mr. Motherfucking Esquire. He's dope. He got a show, I think July 2nd in Brooklyn. I think he's about to come back out again and release some new music. So shout out to him, man. You gotta tell him I shouted him out if you holler at him again.
Nice. He is dope for sure. So when it comes to your actual title, The Way I See It, why did you decide to have the I as I? EYE.
I had it as EYE, again, to represent perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when you're listening to my album, what I say, what I share, how I do it, it's my vision. You know what I'm saying? So the I represents, you know, vision, perspective, and like grammatically, I didn't like the way the letter I looked. So I was like, I just want to do something a little different. So I put the way I see EYE in there. So
yeah. Nice.
Just to be creative, just to kind of like, I just like to have eye appealing things. You know, a lot of my promotion and how I do my music is inspired by literary shit. So I always learn, you know, to get people to read a book, you got to have a good cover. You got to draw their attention. So that's what I like to do. So whether it be a title or a dope cover, I want people who don't even know that my album is hip hop to be like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna have to check this shit out. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably how you came across it. I'm trying to remember how we connected, but when you said you're from Australia, I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. What? I know, like my homie Dan is from London, but like the fact that we can do this, I'm like, yeah, this is dope. So shout out to my homies over in Australia. I got some homies over there now since you're sharing the music, man.
Well, see, the thing is, what I remember, because my first interview I ever did was with Illogic. George.
Okay, yeah. Shout out to Elijah.
And since then, I just went on this kind of train of like, you know, like adding random people who are in the music industry, adding, and try and message them like, hey, how you going? I'm this, and trying to get myself opportunities for interviews or connections. And I guess you're one of them.
For sure. Yeah, man, I appreciate that opportunity, man, because it's just a blessing to be able to have my music go from just being in Canton to, you know, Australia and to London and to Singapore. I had people from like Taiwan listening to my music, man, and even the podcast. Like I have a podcast, and it's just a blessing that hip hop can spread that far and build connections from you finding my music to us having a face-to-face Zoom conversation. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, I
that's the
gotta
power of
say,
hip hop, man.
regarding your podcast, that what you do is really smart. Posting on Facebook questions, like,
Yes.
I love that. Like, it's so creative, and I've
Yeah,
posted
thank
a
you,
few
man.
times, but
Yeah, I encourage everybody to do it. Like that's how you get conversations. You know, I'm on my 47th episode. So now that I'm like getting my foot in the podcast game, I want to make that kind of a weekly thing to where I ask a question, because what I'm learning about podcasting is not to be afraid to be a talk about certain things, but people being canceled and being looked at left and right. I have to tell myself, yo, this is my space. I want to be able to talk about what I want to talk about, because the big issue now is Roe versus Wade. You know what I'm saying? Over here in the States, you know, that's a really big issue. So with me thinking about that, it's like, man, I'm able to talk about that, but it's such a sensitive subject. But I also want to be able to use my platform to show women like, yo, women need to have a choice. It's not up to us to tell them what they can do with their bodies. So me having a podcast can show people I'm not just an MC, but I'm an everyday dude who has his opinions and thoughts on things. So it's kind of like intertwining the MC, the podcaster, the mailman, you know what I'm saying? All these different things, different hats, no pun intended.
nice. I'm curious though, speaking on kind of similar subject, you obviously being a massive hip hop head, growing up with hip hop, you know, being an artist yourself, what is your take on the, dare I say, misogynistic behavior in hip hop? You know, because you have gangster rap, you have like, you know, demeaning sexual lyrics. You got like growing up in that environment, with those kind of lyrics, those kind of messages. How did that affect you, to where you are now? Like, how did that influence you? Did you ever go through a phase where you were like, "Fuck bitches," or were you always like, "Nah, you know, I don't like that kind of thing"?
Yeah, it was always like, I'm real big on who listens to my music other than my family and my friends. You know what I'm saying? And like, I couldn't get on no records being misogynistic, you know, because we got to respect women. Yeah, we like to see the girls. We like to talk our shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm a man at the end of the day, but you know, there's little boys that may listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 32, but you know, I get a little nervous talking about sex on my songs, but the way I talk about it, you know, it's like, okay, I'm talking about it, but I'm not like being visual as a lot of shit is now, but it's like, I know how to talk about it while being mature about it. So as far as what's going on in hip hop, like with misogyny, I do agree we should, you know, promote better things when it comes to like our women and even our men. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of popular hip hop now, we promote death. So just as there's misogyny, you got a lot of guys talking about ops and killing who and so, and they got this and that. So hip hop is a powerful medium to where like, like I said before, I'm really big on words. So I don't want a kid to hear from Jean P the MC, fuck bitches get money. I'd rather him hear from Jean P the MC, yo, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be original. It's okay to have a job. It's okay to, you know, have a beagle. You know what I'm saying? I got a beagle. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be an everyday dude, you know, because like people will look up to rappers thinking they're one way and you like, yo, that's not really who you are. You know, so it's like, why not show people who I am while they get the chance to see me, you know, especially me being in the city, you know, being seen by people, you know, so I got to move a certain way and I move a certain way in my music as well. So you ain't gonna hear me talking about, you know, killing nobody or disrespecting nobody, because it's like I don't come from that. Do I have environments and friends that reflect that? I might, you know what I'm saying, but that don't mean I gotta talk about it or share it. You know what I'm saying? That's their life. This is mine. So
yeah. So you know, talking about the first official track on the album, Flow On, you know, the first Cassette Skip On, I found that a really cool, because I remember when I bought the album on Bandcamp, that wasn't out yet. There was a bit of an error, so I didn't hear that until you replaced it. But yeah. But that song Flow On, it's, to me, it's such a powerful statement. It kind of reminds me, as far as statements go, it kind of reminds me of what was it? The first official track on that Lupe Fiasco album, that 7 minute one, where he just raps.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the album.
Test,
Like,
Dro Guys.
uh,
That's on Youth.
Muriel.
Mural. Yeah, that's Mural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it reminds me of that in the power, like, because
That's
here you are, you got that beautiful intro, and then the second track, you're putting all your feelings onto the page or onto the song. So tell me, was that intentional? Like, did you go, all right, Flow On has to be the first official track on the album?
You want to know what's crazy? Flow On was going to be the last song on the album, right? And then my cousin Kadeem, he came over, and like he's my best friend, and we love music. And he was like, "Cuz, that's got to be the first song." And I was like, "You think so?" He said, "Yeah, man, because the way I see it was going to be the first one." He said, "The way I see it sounds like a conclusion. Flow On sounds like a superhero theme song." You know what I'm saying? So I made that switch and I played it in the car, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is it." And so I always credit my cousin for being the one to make that switch. It was just one switch, but Flow On is such a powerful song. It was my way of letting the people who've known Jean P the MC know, like, yo, I'm still here. You may have known me since '08, but I ain't stopping no time soon. I'm still here. That's why I said the rent's still due and the show must go on, meaning like I still got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? And I still got to put this music out if I want people to know who I am. And then like me, even when they said that people's falling off what type of drugs y'all on, I'm like, are you crazy? Like you talking about Jean P the MC, bro? Like me? Like what? Bro, that's crazy to me. Like I'm one of the most consistent artists you've ever heard. When you know me, one thing that people will say about me, bro, is he ain't never stopped. And that's why I said this rap shit need to save when I'm that nigga that they call on. Cause like I told you earlier, rap is going like, and this, and all this is rap here. And it's like, we need that real shit back. So that's why I said, let me make an album that will remind people who love hip hop why they should stay in love with it. And they can appreciate artists like me who make music to want them to keep listening to hip hop. Cause sometimes I get turned off from hip hop. I'm like, man, I got to turn on some Giveon or something. It's too much bullshit going. I got to listen to something else. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So I just try to make the music that's reflective of the culture, man. Because I love the culture just as much as I like making the music in it.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that always bothers me is, when you hear the majority be like, oh, hip hop's dead, it's all bullshit. Yeah, some of it is. But if you search long enough, you'll find artists like you, artists around the world who may not be as big as Migos or Kendrick, but they do consistent music.
And I feel like if you find those type of artists, support them. You know what I'm saying? Like you would, just like whenever Kanye announced he going on tour, you spend $300-400 for tickets. But it's a dope artist in your state who trying to get on to where he could be at Kanye's level, and you act like you can't pay him $20 for a CD or give him $10 for a digital download. But whenever these rappers who you'll never physically touch, who you'll never physically see, y'all will break your backs for them. That's why like hip hop in their level, it's a business. Even with Kendrick, it's a business. I love his message, but he has to do something to get people to listen to his music. It's a business. So if you see a guy who goes to the post office every day, come home, play with this badass dog, go to another job, and still make dope ass raps, how can you not fuck with me? Like, how could you not? Like, I don't got no change, bro. I'm in my apartment doing this interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an everyday guy. You know what I mean? So, and like hip hop has to get back to that because there's a lot of rappers who had to become rappers to find out who they were as a person. I know who I am as a person, so it's even doper when that's in the music because you're listening to an artist who knows who the fuck he is. And a lot of these guys who call themselves rappers, MCs, singers, don't know who they are. You know what I'm saying? But that when you listen to Jean P, you listen to an artist who knows who he is. So
yeah, no, it's like, see, to me, I'm happy that I'm perfectly in the middle, as in, yes, I'll still fanboy over my biggest artist, my biggest, like, if I met Kendrick tomorrow, I'll probably have a heart attack.
Hell yeah, me too.
But at the same time, I support the underground. I support the local because it's like, you have to do that, and it's like, that's always been my dream as a because I'm the same as you. I work 38 hours a week. I got a dog laying next to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all this stuff, and I've got all the stuff I have to do, but I still make time for this because it's important for the local music scene to flourish. It's important for people to know that people like you exist, and music like yours exists. And so, like, I'm trying to push it as well on mine. So it's like I completely understand being an everyday man and trying to live a dream.
Yeah, man, it's so necessary, and like I tell people all the time, like this album, it not only is dope, but it like saved me. You know what I'm saying? I went through a really rough period trying to finish this shit, and I did. So this album, it's like stepping on Mount Everest or something. When I listen to it, it's like, yeah, I made this shit. Like can't nobody tell me I didn't make this because I did. You know what I'm saying? Like this is mine. Like I want to be in them conversations where, man, who got the best album of 2022? Jéan P. Who the fuck is Jéan P? Click that link right there. You're going to see it. You're going to be like, oh, man, this is good. Like, all you got to do is listen to me once. I tell people that all the time. All you have to do is listen to Jéan P one time, and you're not going to stop listening to him.
Well, I was just about to say, I'm in the works trying to link up for a top 10 hip hop albums of the year with Justin Hunt from Hip Hop DX. Formerly Hip Hop DX. And definitely your name's gonna be up there. I'm gonna do it. Man. I'm gonna be like, I don't know if you heard of him, but you have to. This is fucking.
I made it on OK Player, a mixtape Monday. They posted me on there. I thought that was cool, But the biggest accomplishment to me was people buying it. Like I said,
so how many people bought it? Do you know? How many?
Man, like 100+ people.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying? So like, compared to Spotify numbers, I would have, sold that many. Only got like what, $1 back, because Spotify don't be paying no fucking body. Yeah. So I was like, man, you know what? I gotta see who the real fans is, who the people that really say they support me. They gonna show up, because support nowadays, people, is just something that you type or share, but you gotta show it. You know what I'm saying? If I support you and your blog and your CD, I'm gonna buy it. It's $10. If you support me and people showed up for me, man, people was buying it. Some gave me more than $10. Some was buying T-shirts, CDs. I have vinyl. People was buying my vinyl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it felt good. Like, yo, I'm doing this shit. And then I can put it on Spotify. And I'm like, shit, signed to a label for what? I can pick and choose what I want to do when I want to do it. Only thing I want to do is go on tour. I want to be able to go on tour, but I'm a dad, you know what I mean? And I got a job. I'm a mailman, if it's mailman watching, they'll tell you we don't get a lot of time off. So, them giving me time to go on tour, they'll be like, okay, you might have to pick the post office or go on the road. But if that opportunity ever came, I'm going to take it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been doing music since I was 18 years old, and it's been my lifeline, man. Like, I haven't stopped. I think I stopped when the pandemic happened. That's when I was like, okay, what we about to do? Because they told us we can't go outside. So what the hell are we supposed to do? That was the first time I stopped. I think everything stopped when that shit happened. Yeah. So,
Well, unfortunately, I work in a grocery store. And when the pandemic hit, I was there for all the crazy customers, all the buying all the toilet paper, all the food. It was just hectic.
Listen, it was crazy because, like I said, I'm a mailman. So, like, we seeing all this stuff, and the news is literally telling you, hey, you might not want to go outside. And my dumb ass out there putting letters in a box like, put them in a box, and then we got to wear a mask. Then it was the mask stuff. And it's like, man, this is crazy. And then that day where Trump was like, all right, look, state of emergency, I was like, oh, man, I'm working on an album. What am I going to do? Because apparently we can't never step. I'm thinking at this time we may never go outside again. That was a scary time. We was like, damn, it was about to be like a zombie apocalypse. Like, what's about to happen? Like, what's going on? Nothing. Nobody knew what was going on. So that was when I took a break from music, but I had got into a relationship. I started doing other things. So I had give my time to that to escape from the pandemic. When the pandemic had died down, that shit had started reversing. And I was like, oh shit, now I gotta get myself out of another hole, because we're getting out of this hole here to this day with this pandemic, man. It really shaped a lot of things. So the pandemic kind of inspired me to take a different approach with releasing music. So I was like, okay, you know what? Instead of just going right to Spotify, I got to get my money back. I'm spending $100 here for beats, $200 here, you know, $300 for art. You know what I mean? I said, I got to get this money back. So the people showed up and I made my return of investment back, man. It's been a blessing. So
Nice. Speaking about shaking things up, I want to talk about a song in particular, 5-piece on the album. Because here's the reason. I remembered your last album because I'm pretty sure I reviewed it. And talking about your album here. So it's, for me, this song, not really lyrically, but instrumentally, it kind of shook me up the most because it reminded me kind of, you know, like a Rocky Marciano, Griselda type like loop, you know, raw loop. And I loved it. And the vocal harmony, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it stuck in my head. It was like looping in my head. So tell me about it. What made you go that direction with that one song?
So the story behind 5-piece is a pretty simple story. Wacko, he had posted some beats on Instagram, and he had this one beat that was just, it was so hypnotic. I was like, man, this beat is crazy. Like it was just so beautiful. And I was like, man, this beat is dope. So I purchased the beat from him, but I was stuck because I was so busy listening to the beat. I was like, man, I don't know what to say. So one day, Wacko, shout out to Wacko from Cleveland, he produced a song. He sent me like a sketch and he was like, yo, you know, I wrote a song for this, right? Before I sold you the beat. And I was like, yeah. I said, what'd you write about? He said, I wrote about this chicken spot. And I said, you made a song about a chicken place? And he was like, yeah, man, it's called 5-piece. And when he sent it to me, the hook was 5-piece. So I just want the chicken, sauce on everything. And I was like, man, that's hard. I like that. So I just added a verse onto it, tried to match his verse because I always say Wacko had the best verse on that song. Like the bars was crazy. So I said, I got to come with it, man. I can't let Wacko show me up on a song. But I'm glad he did because people know his verse like hard. I know his verse. Like I had a show, I performed it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a really good song. And I'm glad that I can make those type of songs because, you know, they always say you need that one song to get people to listen to your music, a single, and those type of songs ain't easy to come by. So me having that song and that jingle, I made it and people loved it. I had people say like, man, I want some chicken after I hear that song. Or I had my homies be like, man, I got some money today at 5-piece, like sauce on everything. Like people kind of made their own meanings to a song that really was to me just about chicken. I was just, you know, I was just want some chicken. Rate the song. It's all good. So
Yeah. Nah, I love that beat. It's just so hypnotic. Like I listened to it today and I'm just, I mean, like in general, and I'm just like looping in my head, just like I love it.
Yeah.
So talking about this song, Another, go to that one. I love the jazz influence on that song. I love how smooth it is, and obviously it's a song about weed. So it's like, was that kind of, to me, that song felt like a homage to the 90s. It's like Redman, Method Man, like Snoop, the weed.
It did.
Was that true?
It did. Yeah, you ever see them old 90s videos? They be all in like kind of like the background of your screen right now. They be in the basement, just chilling, watching Young TV raps. You know what I mean? Like having a good time. Like my uncle used to say, like, man, we used to just get together on Saturdays, pull up at the crib, bring in weed and listen to hip hop. And to go from those times to like now where you can Zoom and you can get on YouTube, it makes you kind of appreciate that vintage style of kicking it. Like, man, I'm finna pull up on Colin, man. We finna, you know, smoke one and watch music videos. You know, you could do that for hours. So with that song, I was like, yo, let me make something that kind of reflects that. Cause so if you know the sample, it's Queen Latifah, U-N-I-T-Y, da-da-da-da-da. So I always, when I think of the 90s, I think of that song. So I said, let me make a song that kind of reflects that. So I wanted people who did smoke, people who didn't smoke to feel like they was there chilling on the couch with me, next to me. And we just passing them left and right, just watching music videos, chilling. That's why I said lazy with your lady, blowing crazy by the ounce. That's why I said we chilling with some girls, you know what I'm saying? I ain't being Jean P the mailman. I ain't being John P. I'm just being me. I'm just chilling, like I'm relaxing. So I wanted people to feel that when they heard the song.
Was there any issue? Like, did you have to go through a process for the sampling?
Nah, like me being where I'm at in my career, that's not an issue yet. But I know like with the way things are going with the internet and them looking, like, you know, because nowadays it's like if you're moving big numbers and you want to talk to them people. You know what I'm saying? So like when you see Jean P went platinum, I'm like, okay, we gotta have to make some phone calls and let these people know, hey, we use your song. We kind of sold 1 million records already. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of glad I'm in that situation, but I know when the time comes and to handle proper business, you know, you do want to get those type of things handled. So
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. That reminds me, have you heard the song, the remix by Redman, Bud Like You, the Usher remix? You heard that? Redman,
say it again.
Bud Like You, but it's an Usher remix. So
No.
he's remixing an Usher song, and it's like, "Ain't nobody get high like you," you know.
Oh, so you making like we remixes? Okay.
Yeah.
We sampled. Well, we got inspired. There was a song that not Redman, but Keith Murray. He had a song, and it was like dun about no chronic. We wrote another. Like I had an original version where I sampled that, but I kind of was inspired by because rappers would make weed songs on their albums, like back in the day, like before Wiz Khalifa, before all these rappers now. Like you would listen to a song back in the day, and you knew, okay, they're gonna have a love song, they're gonna have a song for the streets, they're gonna have this song, and they're gonna have a weed song. You know what I'm saying? So like this album is kind of like reflecting the hip hop that inspired me, but making it modern. So I kind of got one of everything on the album. So
Yeah. Okay. Track 8. What can I say? What can you say about that album? About that song. So tell me. Yeah, what was it?
What can I say? That song right there, produced by Midas, my homie in Miami, Florida. It has Gabriel Angel singing on it from the city as well. Canton, Ohio. Shout out Gabriel the Angel. What can I say? Kind of was like a song for men. Like, 'cause, you know, women do the songs where like they do the breakup songs and the dude is always like the bad guy. And I'm like a guy where it's like, well, there's two sides to every story. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, maybe he did cheat, maybe he did it. So, you know, wherever it's at, what can I say was kind of like a song about my own personal experience. And it was also just kind of talking about like how men feel sometimes. It's like, yo, I know you are a woman, you are going through what you're going through, but listen, me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a human just like you are. You know, I know you're a woman. I know you're going through problems. I know relationships suck. You know, you get on Facebook all the time. It's always men being bashed. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, my song was a way of being like, yo, here's our side of it. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't like in my tone. I kind of pretended I was talking to a woman when I made the song. You know what I'm saying? Like you can hear it in my voice, like making up to breaking up. That's all we do now. Questions that need answers. Who, what, where, when, and how. Like I try to make it as natural as possible and make characters that I'm talking to make the songs better on my albums. So
Yeah. That reminds me, how insane that Kendrick song, We Cry Later. Is that what it was?
Yeah. We cry, yeah. We cry together, yeah.
Talk about that, like the woman on that track. Kendrick sounded kind of like Kendrick, but the woman just like
it's one of like songs like What Can I Say? And songs like We Cry Together. It's like, man, like Kendrick was like, was he in my head? Was he like a fly on the wall when I was arguing with my chick? Like, how did he capture this so well? So like, What Can I Say was kind of like, it's like for like men who go through heartbreak, it's like, man, we never get those songs. It's always F man or you hurt me. But it's like, damn, we get emotional too. Like sometimes our heart gets broken too. What about that song for us? So that's what Can I Say was. It was like, we need that song too, because we always going hard on chicks. Like, yo, fuck these bitches, or bitches ain't shit, men ain't shit, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, okay, but let's do a different approach. Let's come from a different standpoint to where we're not so aggressive with one another. And I'm just giving you my side of the coin. So
yeah. When it came to the album process, did you have to trim down at all or add to the original product? Like, no. So the track list was exactly how it's meant to be?
Well, besides Heal was the last song that was added, but I could have made the album way longer if I wanted to, but the way, you know, people's attention spans are now, I try to like make it concise and a worthy listen to where they're not like, oh my God, okay, another song. Okay, I like it, but it's a little long. That's why somebody stick to 13. It's a safe number, but you also got to think about the times of the songs too. Like some of them songs are just one verse. You know what I'm saying? Like Cliff Notes is just one verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was my way of like, I can make a jingle, but this album is so good, people didn't even notice. Like a lot of those songs are just like one verses and just, that's it. Interludes, you know what I'm saying? But we turned it into a body of music, so.
Yeah, nah, it definitely was, and I know I was one of those people that was always up your ass about releasing it. I remember listening. I was like, and because I'm a day ahead of you, so when you said it was announced that week Friday, it was Friday where I was, and I was like, give me the album. But
everybody, that was funny because like I showed my friends and I was like, yo, man. Somebody out in Australia was like, bro, it's daytime over here. Can I get the album now? I'm like, damn, all right. I didn't know it was in demand like that. But that was dope too, because when I wasn't dropping music, because you know, being an artist, you know people that support you, but you know, some people just kind of overlook you. This was the first time people was like, yo, man, when you dropping some more music? I'm like, oh. Yo, man, we dropping some more music. People would text me, yo, man, we dropping something else. And then when I dropped this, they was like, oh my God, it was worth the wait. This album is just, it's one of the best things I ever heard, man. And that's humbling to me because the mind space I was in making the album, being in a place of uncertainty and pain, it feels good that people embrace the album and love it because making it helped me, you know what I'm saying? And it's still helping me, the fact that people is listening to it, so.
Yeah. But see, it's really interesting because if you look at your last album, prior to this one, the album cover for that made it look like a very tranquil album, like a very, like, because the album cover, you know, you're just, it's you in a field or something like that. And it's like, this looks like it's going to be a engaging experience, like a very relaxing, engaging experience. And then for this album, it has a very kind of, what's the word, like a very artsy album cover. Very there's a word I'm thinking of which I'll remember, abstract. A very abstract. Album cover. So it made me think, even before listening to it, I was like, okay, this is gonna make you think. This is gonna have some real shit to it. And it did. And so I think the difference being is that with this album, it's the album cover had people a lot more intrigued, a lot more interested, a lot more invested before the music even came out. Yeah, so to me, that's the difference of the other album and this. So even though they were both amazing, this album with the album cover, the album title with the eye, I think it all just made our imaginations run wild before the album even came out.
And I like that too, because like I mentioned before, like that quote, judging a book by its cover, a person can look at this and be like, I wonder what this is. And then when you turn it on and you hear flow on, you like, oh shit, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a couple of mail customers on my mail route. I'd be like, yo, check this out. And I'll tell them what to listen to the album, man. They wouldn't even know it because I don't tell people about rap a lot on the mail route. I just go to work. And I played it for this guy and I sent him the link. And first he was like, all right, I'll check it out. The next day he was like, bro, what was that? He was like, that was crazy. You made that? I'm like, yeah, that was me. You my mailman? I'm like, yeah, you know, I made it. So I like to amaze people, but I like to reel them in before I give them this great music. I want you to feel like your investment of listening to it was worth it. So
yeah, that's like, I love that hustle, just like telling your customers about it. That's sick.
Yeah, man. Listen, gotta get it. The world gotta know. You know, I don't walk around like with a Jean P t-shirt on at work. You know what I'm saying? But like when I'm talking with people or they know me, because some of the customers know I do music, and they'll be like, oh, what's up, Jean P? Like, hey man, I got your CD, or we'll be friends on Facebook or Instagram and they'll see what I got going on. So it's really dope. It's just a blessing to be where I'm at, man. Even though I'm not a major artist, it's just a blessing to be recognized.
Yeah. Did you ever hear about that guy that apparently got fired for putting mixtapes in the Happy Meals?
I heard about that. Somebody was like, Jean, you should do that for all your customers. I'm like, first of all, that's too much money to be putting free CDs in every mailbox. That's about 500 customers a day. And I said, they would be like, "What is this?" And like, I think we can get in trouble for that too. Like, if I put a CD in your mailbox along with your bills, you could be like, "I didn't ask for this," or they could be like, "Return the sender," and I'd be mad, like, "Damn, you don't want my CD?" Like, okay, cool, fuck it, you know. So
Yeah.
that's cool, man.
So okay, where does your career go from here? Do you have any even blueprints on what you want your next album to sound like, be like, anything at all?
I'm still in that. Well, at this current moment, I'm still in that mode of trying to figure out what's next. But I'm always working on music. I've been wanting to do more comedy, more funny stuff with my best friend Krishan, because we did a music video for the children. Another song on that album produced by Trey Voorhees, and it was me and my best friend. We let a whole bunch of kids throw water balloons at us, and we liked our chemistry. So I'm like, yo, what if we turn this into some type of like YouTube series where people could just watch it and get a chance to know me on a different level? So it's like me being creative like that. I want to do more with music, more visually, more with this podcast. I like having a podcast. So I got to learn how to do Zoom and all this shit too, to have more episodes and more conversation with people, man. So it's really a dope blessing that I tell people all the time, my creativity is my blessing, man. It's like my superpower, it's my gift. The fact that I can use it as an outlet to get through some of the darkest moments in my life, man, it's dope. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna be doing more, but because listen, the rent's still due and the show must go on.
nice. Well, yeah. I mean, what more can I say? It's like the album was dope. All your albums I've listened to have been dope. I can't wait. I can't wait for new music. But I do have a question for you. So if you were stranded on a desert island and you could only choose one album to listen to for the rest of your life, what would that album be?
One, and I'm just go off the top of my head. Gorillaz, their debut album.
Nice.
Give me that. I love hip hop. I could have said Tribe. I could have said Lupe, but like that album right there, Gorillaz, the debut with Clint Eastwood, M1A1. Like that album is one of my favorites, man, because it's so many different ranges and it's so creative and it's so unique. Like I was thinking about that shit today, getting a Gorillaz tattoo, but I don't think I love the Gorillaz that much. You know what I'm saying? Because I already got Marvin Gaye and my son and Sun Ra tattooed on me. So Gorillaz, I would pick the Gorillaz as my album of choice.
Nice.
What about yours?
I've had a different answer over the years. Every year, like I have a different answer. And lately, the one album that's been really impressing me as far as versatility, diversity, like length, like something that has a bit of everything, and that is the new West Side Gun album, the Hitler's Where's Hermes 8 side B.
Oh yeah, that's a great project.
I know that it has so many different layers, so many different stuff, and I can't stop listening to it.
I seen West Side in Cleveland for like $20, and then like a year later they just blew up, man. Like they just took off. I saw Conway, Benny, West Side, El Camino. You know what I'm saying? I saw, what was his name? What is his name? No, not Jay Electronica. I wish. I did a podcast about Jay Electronica and he co-signed it though. That's dope. I did. Wow. Me and my homie did an episode for Jay Electronica and I sent it to him through DM and he followed me on Instagram. So shout out Jay Electronica for that. But yeah. I saw West Side Gun for like $20. And I paid for one of them high ass t-shirts because when you go to a Griselda show, merch is not cheap. I paid $50 for a t-shirt. Never again. That's too much money. Like I'm only gonna wear it like a couple of times. It's $50. So shout out West Side Gun.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So look, I like to think we've given the audience a pretty good rundown on the album. I like to think we've dissected it a bit and just given people who if there were any doubters about who you are as a person, your personality, your character, it will definitely be removed after watching this. So you're a real ass guy. You're a real ass guy. You're a gentleman. Obviously, you're a dope rapper, and you're everything people should aspire to be. So I just love that I got this opportunity to talk with you.
I hope so, man. I just want to lead by example, right? I just want to be a person that people can admire and respect, man. And I'm glad that you can respect and see the energy even from Australia, bro. That's dope that you see that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this worked on, and I'll send you the link once it's done.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I'm excited to see it. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'll definitely send. So after this, I'll get it worked ASAP, and then the whole world will see just how good of an MC and a person Jéan P, the MC, really is.
Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, have a good night.
All right, man. Hey, should we end it here? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
You too, man. Peace, brother.